Welcome everybody to lunch. Get this going. There we go. Hey everybody. Welcome to Lunch with Pastor Steven. This is we're gonna take 30 minutes today. Last time we took a good hour to talk, but felt like 30 minutes is actually a good amount of time. So it's 10 a.m. on West Coast, and it's noon here in Madison, Wisconsin. So good that you guys are joining us today. I know, I think Julie's on and joining us. Jeff Wood is here, so welcome, Jeff. Great to see you. Well, there's as always, there's a lot going on in our country right now. And then there's Corey. Great to see Corey on. This could just be a great time with the staff, hanging out. But we really put this together because we wanted all of you who are part of the Journey community to just have another connection point, another time. We did a worship night last night, and it was actually from here, from my office, and we had a great time together, praying and singing, and so it was really grateful for all of that. So here's another connection point today. Corey asked, what's for lunch today? For lunch today, I think I'm going to have a salad. So I'm going to eat after this. Right now, I just have this cup of Olympia Coffee Roasters coffee. So using the Seattle mug today for the Starbucks mugs, using my Seattle mug. So just praying and thinking about all my friends in Seattle who have it worse than we do, for sure. So there we go. And hello, Sakani. Glad you're joining us today as well. I was wondering, anybody, let's see, questions coming in. I think some people are still joining us. So, yeah, I'm not going to spill it this time. I got it. Last time I put it on the music stand, and then the music stand just tipped, and so everything fell. So, really, I want to make sure that, I want to make sure that everybody knows about the 3 p.m. call with Alex Schwaninger today, where we talk about mental health and spiritual health in the midst of being sheltering in place. I know for me, again, feels like Groundhog Day, same thing every day. We're sticking to a schedule, and the variety is low because we're all together all the time. So I think it's going to be really good. Carmen's here. Great to see you, Carmen. Glad you're with us today. So, the thing that's been encouraging me the most is really processing. There it is. Is really processing how much fear is in my life, and then where faith is at in my life. And I think every single day this week, and then last week, I found myself in a place where I'd wake up in the morning, and just a wave of fear comes over me of all the things that need to be done, and the people that need to be communicated with, and the all right, are we going to have people? Is this really going to work? And so many details, and it takes me time every morning to get to a place of faith, of saying, while fears can be grounded in real things, you don't have to give into that. You can actually lean into the Father and lean into the power of the Holy Spirit inside of you, and rely on Him and actually believe in Him by faith, so that overcoming fear isn't where we disregard it, but it's actually where we begin to say that my faith in God means that fear is going to be overcome, that even in the midst of it, God is going to be faithful. So, Greg Rains, what's up, bro? Like the video. Thanks, man. Gene's here as well. Hey, Gene. So I just want to encourage everybody, as I think all of us are in a place where there's legitimate fears. There's things going on as we read the news and as we look at our lives. And what God would want us to do is walk by faith and not by sight. And walking by sight typically means giving in to all those fears, because the fears are the things you can see, and many times the things you can't see. But walking by faith says, this is how God is going to be faithful, and putting our energy and effort there. The go-to verse, that's great, Corey. Hey, Christy Grace. The go-to verse is really 2 Timothy 1:7. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. That the spirit I want to be operating in all day is power, love, and a sound mind. And the moment I'm dominated by fear, the moment I begin to be dominated by those things, man, I'm gonna wear a hole in my carpet here in my office, because I just get on my knees, and I typically will set a timer on my Alexa for 15 minutes and just get with the Lord and get time. And typically it takes me 10-15 minutes to just be in God's presence, process, start with 2 Timothy 1:7, that He's not given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. And then I just let my mind be in God's presence and let the Holy Spirit lead me in that time out of that fear and into a place of faith. And I've been doing that a lot. So, concern for our church, concern for my friends in Washington, and I know even yesterday I talked to one of my friends in Washington who, the governor of Washington State, when he made the shelter-in-place order, didn't put a clause in for churches. And so he called me and was concerned and had questions and what was going on in Wisconsin. And I was so grateful, because our governor put in the shelter-in-place order here in Wisconsin. He actually put a clause in for churches so that churches can actually still go to their buildings. Churches are listed as an essential service if those churches are places where people are being served and helped. So if people are coming to us for resource and care, then we are an essential business that needs to remain open, or essential place. So I was really grateful that our governor, Tony Evers, put that in, and was really surprised when Washington didn't. So I know he's working, my friend in Washington's working hard to get the order actually changed so that Washington churches don't break the law when they even record their sermons in their building. So crazy stuff happening there. Any questions from anybody? I would love to, there's a great question from Corey. Go-to verse to rely on. Am I frozen? There we go. That was funny. That'll be quite a delay. It looks like Stephanie's on, my sister, which is great. Good to see you, Stephanie. Anybody have any questions? We got 20 more minutes. We got some time together. Would love to answer any questions. Nope, I'm not. Worship song I've been listening to a lot lately. Great question, Julie. Yeah, the song that we played it last night at the worship night, it's called The Blessing. And it's by Carrie Job and Cody Carnes. And that song has been on in our house every day, just listening to it and taking in those lyrics. And then one of the other songs, we actually sang it last night and on Sunday, Run to the Father, has been a really great song to be singing in this time and just have in my heart. Run to the Father, because I need Him, and man, I don't want to run. I don't want to run to anything else but my Father who loves me and cares for me. Great question. Oh, this is a good one. Yeah. So TV shows that I've been watching. Some great TV shows. Let's see. Shows with the boys. Boss Baby just released a brand new series that's a cartoon. So on the kids side of Netflix, my 5-year-old has been watching the whole new season of Boss Baby. So if my 5-year-old's watching it, that means I am watching it as well. So as funny as that sounds, it's a part of living life together and sheltering in place. Some of the other shows that we've been watching, Jessica and I have been watching, I think it's called The Letter for the King, which is on Netflix. It's a high fantasy show, so we've been watching some of those episodes. That's been fun. I've been enjoying watching the Letter for the King, so I can recommend that. And then total guilty pleasure, because growing up when I was but a junior higher, I loved comic books, still love comic books, and one of the comic books that I had every issue was a comic book called Bloodshot, and so I watched Bloodshot last night and loved it, thought it was great. I'm not sure I would necessarily recommend it to everybody, but I grew up reading all those comics, and I had them, and so watching the movie was really great and nostalgic in all those ways, and it was awesome that Vin Diesel was Bloodshot. So I don't have the comics anymore, because when I got married, I had to decide between my comic book collection, which was not super valuable but big action, and as a newlywed, I realized my wife in all of her wisdom said, I think our future kids are going to really like the Legos a lot more than the comics. And so I actually sold the comics, very inexpensively, got rid of them so we didn't have to travel around the country with them, and then kept the Legos. I think it was the right decision. So what is something that God has been speaking to your heart this week? Great to see you, Jimmy. Great to see Jimmy on. Yeah, what's the Lord been speaking to me this week? This week, we started Romans chapter 6, and what's been recurring in my heart is, what am I receiving from God? This sense out of Romans chapter 5, that His love has been shed abroad into our hearts, and then when we get, by the time we get to Romans 6, that there's a life that God has given us, and there's so much grace that God has poured into us. Am I receiving that grace every day? And the Spirit of God has been consistently reminding me, are you receiving all of this news from the internet, and is that fueling you? How is that helping you? Or are you receiving grace from God, insight from God? I think right now the prophetic, meaning the urgency of what God is speaking now, is incredibly important. And I can't encourage you all enough in your private times with the Lord to be hearing directly from God, that there's something God wants to speak to you and through you to someone else, that we can still be prophetic, meaning we can give people words from the Lord, and we can do that over Marco Polo, we could do it over Instagram, we can do it just doing FaceTime videos. FaceTime videos don't have to be really long, they could just be a short, hey, just want to check in, I want to see your face, and you see mine, and just give you a word from the Lord. So really encourage you, church, to do that, and hear from God, and get poured into by God, and then recognize that God is pouring into you so that you can pour out to others. So receiving grace has been massive for me. It's what we're going through, what I'm preaching on, and what we're gonna talk about it even more this Sunday. Of just what do we receive from God, that we receive life from Him, and I'm excited to talk about that this Sunday. Outside of the Bible, what am I reading outside of the Bible? Well, let's see. I haven't read. That's been really encouraging is a book called Praying Grace, and it is, oh man, where did I put it? I think it's over on my desk. So it's called Praying Grace. I'm gonna go out of the camera real quick, show you. There we go. It wasn't too long. Praying Grace looks like this, and encouraging book for me. It's a devotional, but man, just a couple pages. Read it. Think about grace. It's been great. One of the other things I've been reading is another devotional on wisdom called God's Wisdom for Navigating Life by Timothy and Kathy Keller. That has also been really good to, again, just snap my mind back into the reality of hope and the reality of God in this world, because around us right now there's so much, I think there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of, we don't know what's going to happen. And so we want to, I need to constantly remind myself. So I got these devotionals to really help me do that. So those are some of the things that I've been reading right now. Great question, Corey. And I think for the staff, we're reading 5Q, which is a book by Alan Hirsch. It's all about the fivefold ministry from the book of Ephesians: apostles, prophets, evangelists, shepherds, teachers. Emily Carlson and I are going through a book together. I'm discipling her as a. I don't think I really see a lot in Emily, and she's going through a book with me called Instruments in the Redeemer's Hands, and that book is excellent. So I don't know if you're watching, Emily, but that's been great going through that book with her. Instruments in the Redeemer's Hands. And yeah, I always got a lot of books going. So these are my Romans commentaries, and I'm reading a lot of those right now. But not the whole thing, just right where I'm at in Romans chapter 6. That's good. Any other questions going on online? Great to see everybody. Jimmy, what do you got? You got any questions, Jimmy? I know you got stuff there. I want to encourage you as well that what you look for, what you expect to see, is what you find. And if you're looking for things to go really bad, if you're looking for the people in your home to respond in a certain way, then you find it. It's a principle in life that we find what we're looking for, and so be watchful. Where are your eyes? Are you looking to the Lord, or are you looking for things to happen that would probably never happen if you weren't looking for it? But if you look for peace and you start to seek peace and pursue it, then those things end up happening. Great question, Julie. Favorite book behind me? Oh my gosh. I think from the commentaries, probably my favorite, one of my favorite commentaries, this book called Talk Through the Bible. Talk Through the Bible is, I actually got this from Jessica before we were married. It has a great inscription on the inside. I wasn't even a pastor yet, and she got this for me. It's a commentary on every book of the Bible, and this is a reference book that I've had now for almost 20 years, and it's awesome. Love this book, Talk Through the Bible. So a unique reference tool to help you easily understand each book of the Bible. So very good. Bruce Wilkinson and Kenneth Boa. And then, I don't know, what do we got? Something on this side. I would say Renovation of the Heart by Dallas Willard. Dallas Willard went to be with the Lord. This is a great book on just heart change. And I remember reading it when I was in my early 20s, and I was so mad at it. Oh my gosh. I was so frustrated with Dallas Willard because I was just young, 20-year-old, Enneagram type 8, super aggressive, not wanting to be vulnerable. And this book is all about vulnerability. and I read the whole thing, and I got through it and got mad at him and wanted to think he was, not really close to the Father. And then by the end, it was like, oh, this is really valuable. So that's A Renovation of the Heart by Dallas Willard. And it's been a really great Great book. Great book. So many good books. Awesome. Read fiction or only nonfiction? Actually, I read a lot of both. So great question. I like I like fiction books, and I don't read like right now. I'm reading a lot of maybe graphic novels. So I've got like I have a subscription to Comixology where I can read. Just gives you a ton of access to lots of different comics. I do that one because I really like comics and I like the pace of them. I can just get through the fiction pretty quickly. But I also recognize that in our culture, the movie Bloodshot came out yesterday. That's comics, so going to the source material has been helpful for me to just be on the cutting edge of what's happening in our culture. So, but I do read The Lord of the Rings every year. So I read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings trilogy every year. So that's great fiction that I love reading. Some other fiction that I have, there's a book that I've really wanted to read. It's called Red Wolf. Red Wolf, and it's a fantasy book, brand new. Haven't read it, so I do read some fiction. Favorite fiction genres got to be fantasy and sci-fi. Man, fantasy, sci-fi, and then probably like the action adventure. Growing up, I read a ton of Clive Cussler and Tom Clancy. Those were my go-tos. Growing up was and Tom Clancy. So, Tom Clancy obviously has so many great, Jack Ryan and all these great books. I read a lot of those, and then Clive Cussler has his main character. His name is Dirk Pitt, and those are really fun kind of adventure mystery novels. So, really great questions, guys. I love reading. It's a not so subtle thing to do these videos with my bookshelf behind me or shelves behind me. And when I'm not reading, not watching a movie, then I love doing. I like building Legos. I like building furniture. So Jessica and I are redoing our whole living room right now, both because it's now the studio for our church, but also we like doing. We love people, and we never want to treat people like they're a project. And so because my job as a pastor is to care for people and to tell people about Jesus and shepherd people, and I want people to feel love from me and feel like they're cared for on their journey. And so I have projects in my life that have a beginning, middle, and end, because I never want to treat somebody like they are just a math equation. Like, I'll just meet with you to solve what's going on, but I want people to feel loved. So Jessica and I do quite a few building projects and things. So we'll be doing new bookshelves, and we'll be building quite a few things. You'll see it. You'll see it on Sunday morning as you tune in at 9 and 10:30 as the living room becomes transformed. It's gonna be good. So, that's really good. Fiction genre. Great questions. Joe McHugh's not able to get on today. Hey, I want to encourage everybody as we are in this season where non-essential businesses and things are closed, but essential things are open. Our first responders, they're all working. So police officers, firemen, and medical workers, they're all working, and they're working incredibly hard. So I encourage you, as if you know anybody who is a first responder, who's working at a hospital, who's working for Epic, right? Epic is not closed down. Epic is working. They're essential because they're helping manage all this software for all these hospitals all over the country. So Madison is a place that is really helping, is on the front line going on with this. So if you didn't know that about Epic, Epic does medical software, and they are working very hard. Everybody at Epic. Great question, Julie. Which book would you suggest to someone that wanted to start reading good books about the Bible or start to understand Jesus better? Great question. I would say a great first book. Obviously, you're already reading the. As I look at my shelf behind me, as I think about simple books to get you. C.S. Lewis is probably one of the best places to start. C.S. Lewis gets you into more, gets you thinking about Jesus and the gospel in really practical ways. And so if you read Mere Christianity, it's very helpful. I know that's not necessarily a book about the Bible, but if you're reading the Bible, you begin to have a bunch of questions. How does this play out in my life? If you want a book specifically about the Bible, like how do I do it? Oh, look, I have a book right here. This book is the best book I know of that helps you read the Bible better. So it's a book about the Bible. There's books about books. And this book is How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth by Gordon Fee and Douglas Stewart. And I got this when I was in college, when I was 19 years old, and it has been invaluable to me, the lessons that I learned from it, and just helping me understand how to read the Bible better, how to understand what's going on. So that's How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth by Gordon Fee and Douglas Stewart. So that's great. Yeah, that's a great question, Julie. Favorite guilty pleasure snack? Dark chocolate. I got dark chocolate bars from Trader Joe's. They're dark chocolate with almonds, and you can just snap off three. There's 4 sections of 3 little bars, and you just snap one off, and man, I can eat so many of those. I love those dark chocolate bars from. Oh, hey, Yulia, great to see you. Love those dark chocolate bars from Trader Joe's, which reminds me, because Dima, Yulia's husband, works at Trader Joe's. They're an essential business. They're open. Dima's working hard. Thank you, Dima, for all your hard work at Trader Joe's, helping that store stay open, so we can all have our dark chocolate bars with almonds and our orange chicken. In case you wondered where the best orange chicken is from that you can make from home, Trader Joe's orange chicken, hands down, the best that you can get. So, there you go. Man, great questions. Understand the Bible, understand Jesus. I guess, I'll leave it at that. How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth. That's a great book. So, I would look into that, and you could probably find even like a PDF online probably of it. So, church and everybody else who's been on, any last questions? Guilty pleasure snack, I got that, which is great. People chiming in, which is awesome. I love it. What do we got? Any other main questions coming in? Great TV shows. I think I mentioned this last week. I go back to the TV show comment. I watch Voltron, so the boys can watch it with me, and that's a cartoon on Netflix that I can watch. And then one of the shows that's really a feel-good show that Jessica and I have enjoyed watching. It's very funny. It's called The Unicorn. It's on CBS. And then if I'm going to nerd out big time, then I watch Picard on CBS, and Picard has been so dope. That is a great show. If you are a Star Trek fan, then check out Picard. It's awesome. Well, we got 1 minute, so I know Yulia, you just joined on. We're just doing 30 minutes today, and I have a whole nother call at 3 p.m., so I hope you join us for a Zoom call at 3 p.m. with Alex Schwaninger, where we're going to talk about mental health and spiritual health while sheltering in place. And Alex is a licensed counselor and therapist. He loves Jesus. And so we're hoping to pack that out. There's a 100-person limit on Zoom. We want to hit that limit and have everybody join us at 3 p.m. on Zoom. You can go to our website to find the link, or you can find it here on Facebook. So love you all. So grateful that you joined us today for Lunch with Pastor Stephen. I'm going to go, there we go. I'm going to go have some lunch, have myself a little salad, and probably a big salad. And then I'll see most of you at the Zoom call at 3 o'clock. So love you all. See you soon.